Hi, my name's Dave Henderson. January 28th, 2016, I woke up with what I thought was a case of the flu. I made it through the day, but little did I know how much that day would impact the rest of my life. By February 1st, I was in the hospital with fluids being pumped into me, with doctors doing a battery of tests that would finally make my head swim. A little history: I grew up in a Christian home and a Christian family, and really had an upbringing that one might think would be the perfect upbringing for a good Christian life. I made a profession of faith at the age of 5. As a teenager, I renewed my profession of faith. Went off to a Christian college, got married, and after graduation found myself in a church in the Midwest serving the Lord. I was very quickly plugged into the music ministry and then the youth program, became a youth pastor, and eventually an interim pastor. But through the course of the time, I found myself following religion and not nurturing my relationship with Jesus. Through some bad events that happened in the church, some church politics, and some legalism, I and my family were hurt deeply, and I found myself stepping away from God. Over the course of the next several years, I focused myself on my career. A successful businessman traveling around the country, becoming a well-known commodity as a speaker, as an author, and as an educator. And I used the excuse of taking care of my kids as to why I wasn't seeking after God. After a bad divorce, I found myself sinking farther into my wilderness. I kept going deeper and deeper into the wilderness, seeking after worldly things rather than following Jesus. Throughout that time, I found myself at different points in time saying, "God, where are you? Why don't I feel you? Where is your presence?" But I continued to fall farther and farther away. In June of 2015, God brought a special friend into my life that little did I know at that time would one day be God's demonstration of His hand of grace in my life. Throughout 2015, my health continued to fail, but I kept working, ignoring it, continuing to plow through it, but losing weight at an alarming rate. By February of 2016, I found myself in and out of a hospital almost every other day. I had a bacteria called Helicobacter pylori, 47 ulcers, a pancreas that was shutting down, and adult onset diabetes, yet doctors couldn't figure out why. I remember finding myself at one of my lowest points in life, laying on a hospital bed, looking up at the ceiling, and saying, "God, where are you?" At that point in time, I remember God's hand of grace grabbing a hold of my hand and my heart. I heard God say, "In your weakness, I will be made strong." Shortly after that, I made the decision, with God's leading, to leave my career of 23 years to follow what God would have me to do. Less than a week later, the doctors found my ultimate diagnosis. I had celiac disease. Yeah, that's right, I can't handle gluten. But through all of that, God began a process of healing me, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. After God brought me through that wilderness, I'm so joyful to be experiencing God's hand and working in my life, and the joy of the Lord as He's proven Himself to be real in my own business now as a marketing consultant, and as well as serving on the worship and arts team here at Grace. I don't know where the next years, months in my life will lead, but I do know that my God, the real God, is in control of what my future holds.